Right then. Hello, it's Saturday night. It is just gone 9:30 and we are live. Just checking the audio. Let me know if the audio is okay. We're going to continue from last night. We're going to finish off the interview with Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark. And we'll let a few more people come in. We've got Claire Bear in the house, Mama Bear, lots of bears. We like that. We've got Tams in here. So let's see if some other people come in. I didn't really set this up till like an hour or so ago. It's been out, so apologies for the very short notice. I'm just going to share this out quickly on the Penny for Your Thoughts channel. So we're going to be hearing a little bit more from Mark Epstein, the brother of old Epstein, Jeffrey. Princess Tippy Toes is here. We've got Nikki and Susan Swan. Perfect timing. Well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to try and go earlier, but I had to go and walk George. But that's done now. So hopefully, famous last words, I don't get harassed. How you all doing, guys? Good to see you. Just going to quickly share us out on the other channel. I'm working on so many videos for this channel. Gosh, the things that I'm coming across in these egg stain files, the photos as well. So there's going to be lots more coming out. It's going to be on this channel. It's going to be videos. A lot of it will be videos. There'll also be some live streams as well. Right then, let me just quickly share us out. Hit the like, guys, please. There's 6-7 likes. Right, it's live now. Right. Okay, so there's going to be lots more coming out about the egg stain stuff. Hi Yvonne, how you doing, my lovely? It's pretty crazy stuff as well. Honest to God, I'm not even going to begin to tell you the sort of things that I'm finding because I'm just going to wait. We're just going to wait and we're just going to go through it all when I get to the video. Okay, so we're going to carry on where we was yesterday. We're going to continue. And hi, Pauline. How you doing, my lovely? Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Hi, Pat. Hi, Terry Knowles Band again. Apologies for those of you that wanted an earlier one. I had to go and walk the G-Dog. Ruby's here. Let me just give... Hi, Yvonne. Let me just give Pauline a wrench. Hold on. So, we're going to carry on. Now, Mark did quite a few other interviews. Now, I found one from 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago. And he actually was on, let's give you a wrench there, Paul. He was on the Piers Morgan show. So I've come across that as well. Ah, Pat, it's great. Yeah, I've been on my other channel quite a bit. So you need to subscribe over there because you've probably missed quite a few if you haven't been watching. So for those of you that had just joined us and missed last night, this here is Mark Epstein. It is Jeffrey's only known living relative, though I'm not convinced. I haven't done a family tree. I don't know whether it would be possible to do a family tree because of how secretive the guy is. But as far as we're aware, he's the only known living relative. Now, he believes that Epstein was murdered, as most of us do. I don't know anybody that believes the official narrative. Not because we don't believe he's capable of it, which, well, I don't think he is because he's a narcissist, but it's just obvious. There's just too many red flags, from missing videos to guards falling asleep to not doing their checks to not treating it as a crime scene, moving things around. There's just so many. There's too many. There's just too many red flags. So Mark came onto this show just over a week ago now and spoke to this channel about, not this channel here, this guy here, and told him that why he didn't believe that Epstein, his brother, killed himself, and he believes it was a homicide. And he says that it's about to come out because the autopsy report is being peer reviewed as we speak. Now, it was reviewed again in 2023 when this Mark guy was going and doing the rounds before 2 years ago, and he was actually on Piers Morgan. So I'm going to show you that in a minute, because Piers Morgan, even though I don't like him, he pressed him a little bit more. So I think it's worth listening to that. So we're going to hear the end of this now. We'll go back slightly so we can sort of recap. Go back to like here, and then we're going to continue just before where we left off.
Really something unprecedented, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. The size of the circle he was in and the people he was dealing with. I was unaware of the scope of it. I knew some of the names, but not all of the names. I mean, it's just, yes, it's pretty astounding. And what the effect of one person is having around the world now.
It is, and I mean, to be his brother, you know, there's 18 months apart. I mean, that must be really quite something to carry. And you know, and he's been dead for 7 years, and instead of closure, it just seems to go on and on and on, this story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but that's okay, because I don't want to let it die until we get an answer.
Are you going to?
Because I don't want the people that did this to just feel that they got away with it. So I want to keep I don't mind. And it's not just me. There's a lot of people now who are starting to realize, we're starting to listen to what we've been saying, and they're realizing that this was not a suicide. Many more people are starting to ask questions.
Right. And I mean,
you have members of Congress now saying that Jeffrey didn't commit suicide.
Yeah. And the fact the CCTV, the closed circuit television security cameras don't seem to have captured anything. I mean,
yeah, so I just want to add as well, I've got to jump in. I'm going to share the link again for you so you can go and watch it without me talking. But we do have to talk because, one, we're reviewing, and two, fair use. Hi, Mr. Steve, how are you doing? Saskia's here, Rach is here, more and more of the crew, Terry Knowles Band again are coming in. So this guy, he was actually calling this out. And the thing is, when this happened, the only people that were calling this out were people like us, the red-pilled lot that were calling this out as murder. Your average person didn't really take any notice. And it's become acceptable now, which is why it's becoming more mainstream. But he was actually, like I say, did an interview in 2023, and he's been doing quite a few rounds for quite a while now. Now, one of the pathologists who was present at the autopsy has always said that he thinks it's suspicious, that it was more like a homicide than an unaliving. So we're about to get to the part where we left it yesterday. So let's continue.
I mean, does that sound to you like the biggest of all the red flags?
Well, that's one of it. But what you don't know, and what most of the public doesn't know, is that the fire alarm system was also inoperable that day. Okay, and the fire alarm system controls most motion sensors in some doors.
Oh, now I didn't know this. Did you guys know this? The fire alarm wasn't working either. Interesting. Hi, Gina. Because the thing is, if you're having someone trying to bump you off, what's the best way to get attention? Is to hit the fire alarm. So you're gonna disarm that, aren't you? If someone came to attack me and I wanted to attract attention and I had a fire alarm button, I did it. So again, if you were going to kill yourself, why would they need to turn the fire alarm off? Interesting.
It was made inoperable. And as far as videotapes, again, what's not really public out there yet, but it's in the files, is that the FBI swapped out hard drives, and in doing so, they lost a lot of information, and they were told that they would lose information if they swapped out the hard drives when they were doing it,
right.
But they did it anyhow. There's documentation for that.
If you can hear some funny noises, it's George having a wash by the microphone. He's having a good groom of himself, so in case you can hear this noise, it's not me.
Right. And I mean, you're going to keep pushing this, aren't you, until you get to the truth. Do you think we will get to the bottom of this?
I don't know. We're still not certain about Kennedy's death, and that's about 60 years ago. So we'll see what happens. What's happening with
Just check my internet signal again. Right, we're on the right one. Did it me or did it just cut out then?
And that's, about 60 years ago. So we'll see what happens. But what's happening with a lot of the government people, it's sort of like, I don't know how old you are, but the Warren Commission report about Kennedy's death, to investigate Kennedy's death. No matter what they heard or what they saw, they had a full, but they did it anyhow. There's documentation for that.
Right.
As far as videotapes, again, what's not really public out there yet, but it's in the files, is that the FBI swapped out hard drives, and in doing so, they lost a lot of information. And they were told that they would lose information if they swapped out the hard drives when they were doing it, but they did it anyhow. There's documentation for that.
Right. And I mean, you're going to keep pushing this, aren't you, until you get to the truth. Do you think we will get to the bottom of this?
I don't know. We're still not certain about Kennedy's death, and that's, about 60 years ago. So we'll see what happens. But what's happening with a lot of the government people, it's sort of like, I don't know how old you are, but the Warren Commission report about Kennedy's death, to investigate Kennedy's death. No matter what they heard or what they saw, they had a foregone conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald was the sole shooter and acted alone. Well, now we know that that's not the case. But we don't know all the details because the Warren Commission report was supposed to be sealed for 50 years, and that was in 1965. So in 2015, it was supposed to be revealed, and it still has not been completely revealed. Another 11 years later, 10, 11 years later. So it's like with Jeffrey, whatever they hear, whatever we put in front of them, these quote DOJ, the powers that be, still keep calling it a suicide against all that doesn't pass the laugh test.
Guys, did something happen the first? Right, I've seen it go black. Should it have happened by now? Because I was looking at George. So it didn't do it the second time. That's really weird.
Facts that we have.
Sure. I mean, just to bring...
And when this report comes out, it'll be even less funny.
Sure. I mean, you say more, if more comes out. Sorry, what did you say there?
Yeah, well, when the report comes out from the proper investigation, the proper study of the autopsy results that shows that he did not commit suicide, well, then the only thing left is homicide. I've said there's only 3 ways to die: suicide, natural causes, or an unnatural death, being a murder or an accident. Okay, so we know Jeffrey didn't die of natural causes, so take that one off the table. And we know he wasn't hit by a bus, so it wasn't some accidental death. So it leaves either homicide or suicide. And when they find out, when the reports come out that it was not a suicide, well, that just leaves a homicide. And then it should be properly investigated as a homicide.
I got more.
What's your hunch? Where does suspicion?
There's more. There's more to come. Yeah, I've just been sorting out my membership stuff. So there's going to be more stickers, and there's membership, like as you go through each stage. So I'm just looking at this about Donald Trump. Yeah, he's really gone after Starmer, hasn't he? Blimey.
Lie.
Yeah, on that separately after.
Well, I don't speculate. I only stick to the facts. I've said that for 6 years already. I won't speculate. But I'll ask you the question. Okay, we know that Jeffrey was killed. And we know there were people that might have wanted him dead. But then you have to filter that list down to who could have pulled this off and have the DOJ and FBI cover this up. In the recent, I started saying before, in the recent testimonies, Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, when he was asked, he said, a suicide when you see one. And I actually laughed out loud at that ridiculous statement because, number one, how many suicides has he seen? That's question number one. And number two, he didn't see Jeffrey's body. He wasn't around there. He didn't see the crime scene. So what is he basing that asinine opinion on?
Today.
Just to bring our conversation to a conclusion, Mr. Epstein, I mean, it has been an extraordinary and clearly tumultuous 7 years for you. And even the last 7 days have probably been extremely tumultuous and clearly brought a lot of memories back. There's been a torrent of news, as I said. I mean, what's been your reaction to this flood of news, the falls from grace that go from top to bottom, left to right across the world?
There's the video for this, the link.
Well, to be honest with you, it hasn't really affected me very much. If there are people that are going to get into trouble, as we've seen, like I said, I don't want to be cold about it, but that's not my problem. I wasn't involved. I didn't know them, and that's their problem to deal with. So I don't let it bother me, because if I did, there's just too much to be bothered by. So I'm only focused on the circumstances of Jeffrey's murder. That's what my attention to.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Mark Epstein, the brother of the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. Thank you very much.
We've seen that one. Now, can you sit with George for a little bit, please? Now, I come across, there's quite a few actually. I've been coming across these. Right. Al's going to come and sit with George, I think. Right. So, what's the date? So the 7th. Right. Let me just grab up this. Now, this is the Piers Morgan one. Okay. Piers Morgan interviewed him back in, I think it was 2023. Can you sit with him?
No, he's coming out the back. I've had enough. He's had me out that door so many times. It's a joke.
Sorry, guys, I'm back now. Got a problem with George. Right, okay. So now he rang into Piers Morgan last year, a couple of years ago now, 2 to 3 years ago. And so this was before the latest dump of files. So this was like before we knew quite a lot of stuff. Now, there was some released in 2023, 2024. There was a batch release, but it wasn't anything like what we've got now. And he contacted Piers Morgan, and I think this might be worth a little listen as well. So some of it is the same stuff he's talking about, but listen to how irate he gets.
For not to be seen on camera is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein. Mark Epstein, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Let me first of all...
We know he's a twat, okay? We know he's a twat. Again, this was a couple of years ago. I think he was on Talk TV at the time, way before we know what we know now. So nobody was really talking about this then, apart from people like us who were saying he didn't kill himself. Mainstream like Piers Morgan, it was just a joke to him. He literally he's just joke. He thinks it's funny. He wouldn't be laughing now. He's also been named in the Epstein files himself. But just listen to how irate this Mark gets. I think there's a lot that he isn't telling. And he also tries to blame Trump as well here. Let's not forget, this was when Biden was in as well, before Trump won or even run.
I'll ask you, what did you know about your brother? I mean, it's an obvious question, but you are his relative, his sibling. When this all came out about him, were you as shocked as everybody else, or did you have concerns about him?
Well, back in 2006, when he first got into trouble, he told me that he was getting into trouble, for what he was doing. And so I knew from early on what was happening. So he told me early on.
So he told him?
Did you know the scale of it? I mean, obviously...
He told him. He told him what was going on. Oh, it's Bridget here as well. Hi, Bridget. Hi, everybody. Sorry if I'm missing some of the chat. I was just dealing with George. Hello, Nathan Penny. How you doing? Good to see you guys. Anyone going to bed? Have I missed anyone going to bed? George definitely does rule the roost, Gina. He really, really does. He's extremely bossy. He's in charge, basically.
He had that conviction. He served time in prison. But the sheer scale of what has emerged since.
I made it real clear. I'm not discussing anything about my brother and his charges against him. I have nothing to do with that. I wasn't involved. I have no more information. The only thing I'm interested in discussing is the circumstances surrounding his murder.
Okay, well, you say it's a murder. Obviously, it was ruled as suicide. Why do you believe that's not true?
He's not happy, is he?
Well, first, the actual pathologist who did the autopsy.
He sure did, Claire Bear, and that's why it's interesting, because this was a few years ago. So liars have to have extremely good memories to not forget what they've said. And I found that interesting as well. On the latest one from just over a week ago, he said he knew nothing about him. Now he's just said that he found out when he was being naughty or whatever he said. So, yeah. And also, even though this guy's an absolute twonk and I can't stand him, he will ask more pressing questions. So let's continue.
Did not determine it was a suicide. They couldn't. They said it looked more like a homicide.
Nikki,
but
going to bed.
on the initial death certificate, on cause of death, it said pending, meaning pending further investigation, which is proper. And then a few days later, Bill Barr claims it was a suicide. And then the chief pathologist of New York, who did not see the body, claims it's a suicide. So the question becomes, what investigating was done in a matter of days to make them come out with that determination? And it turns out that because it was called a suicide, there doesn't seem to have been an investigation. Because if you...
That girl's face, where's his hand? She looks really uncomfortable. Yeah, these pictures here, these are the earlier drops.
Clear somebody died by suicide, there's really nothing to investigate. The only questions about a suicide is, how did they do it? Did they hang themselves? Did they shoot themselves? Did they jump out of a window? And that's a pretty obvious answer at the time of the death. So there's no investigation was done. The EMTs that went to the prison were never questioned. The hospital personnel were never questioned. We can't seem to find the medical records. We can't get the 911 call. If this was a suicide, why are all these things hidden? And why did
obviously
make that ridiculous statement?
Right. Let's talk about the night that your brother died. He was found hanged. What is it about what happened that night? That's what was reported. So tell me why you think that what happened that night is so suspicious.
Okay, first of all, for 4 years we were trying to find out what position his body was in when he was found, because that's very telling. But we couldn't find out because they moved his body after he was found to the infirmary of the prison. When the EMTs were called and they got to the prison, he was already dead in the infirmary. Understand something. He had been dead for at least 2 hours before he was found. That's what the autopsy showed. And that's not a question. That's a fact. He could have been dead for 6 hours, but at least 2. Now, they said in the DOJ report that finally came out that he was found hanging. They said he was in a seated position with his legs extended in front of him. And when he was tied to the top bunk.
Yeah, they want us to be distracted by war. Well, not on my watch. We will be talking about this. We need to continue talking about this. Appreciate you saying that, Bridget. So I'm going to continue listening. So I'm listening for inconsistencies, and I'm also listening for things that did rigor mortis set in. Well, he's saying that the pathologist said that it was a minimum, an absolute minimum of 2 hours that he was dead. So it could have been longer. So I'm guessing by the time he got to the autopsy or on the report, they said he'd been dead at least 2 hours. Okay. So yeah. No, exactly. Oh, thank you, Princess. Oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, let's continue. Now we know that the EMTs were not needed because he was already dead. It was all a show.
And when they either cut him or tore him down, his buttocks was an inch and a half off the ground. Which, if you picture that, it means basically his entire body weight, or the bulk of his body weight, was hanging
I love
by the neck.
playing.
Yes, there was probably some weight on his feet at the end of his legs, but the bulk of his body was hanging. So the mark on his neck left by the ligature is in the middle of his neck and goes straight back. If he was hanging, as they said, the ligature would have slid up high up under his chin and then went up back sort of behind his ears up to whatever he was tied to. So the ligature mark on his neck is inconsistent with the way they describe him. And another important thing is that when you die, when a person dies, their blood isn't circulating anymore. And what happens, the blood starts to settle in the body to the lowest point. Gravity just takes the blood through the tissue. So you get a pooling of...
I think most of you think that he's still alive, don't you? You see, again, I just don't know. I honestly have always thought he was dead because he's not so important. Though I am suspicious because of the photo. I just don't know. I just need to keep investigating. It's an itch that I'm going to keep scratching until I've made a final decision. I know most of you don't think he's dead. He definitely didn't kill himself. So apparently the body on the stretcher they've admitted was a dummy, but I can't find that in the files. I'm still looking. I think he definitely taken out. Can you imagine if he'd gone on to trial? Could you just imagine if he'd actually gone to trial and all the things he would have said? I can't see that being possible. That girl's face, though, honestly. He looks like he's got his finger somewhere quite painful.
The blood under the skin, which is why they tell you to never move a dead body, because they can tell a lot of things. If you find a dead body laying on its face and the back has this lividity of pooled blood, that means the body died on its back and somebody eventually turned it over.
Yeah, so he's going into a little bit more detail here, isn't he? So we're going to keep going with this. He's explaining a little bit more detail, but he does get quite angry as well. I've only heard half of this, but apparently he gets really mad towards the end. So we'll continue.
If you picture the way they describe Jeffrey as hanging, well, he should have lividity in the back of his legs and in his buttocks, which was the lowest part of his body.
Okay, let me ask you this. If he didn't take his own life, who do you think took it? Who killed him, in your estimation?
It's a good question. Bill Barr said that no one went in or out of the tier, so he concluded it was a suicide. But there were something like 11 or 12 other prisoners on that tier that could have went in and killed him. Now, if another prisoner killed him, it's sort of, why would they go to the extent to cover it up? It's like if you remember the case of Whitey Bulger, he was in prison and he got killed by 3 other inmates. Well, they got the guys and they prosecuted him for killing Whitey Bulger in jail. If it was just another prisoner that killed Jeff, why would they not just find out who it was and prosecute him for murder? There doesn't seem to be a reason to cover that up. Also, we can't get a list of who were those prisoners that were already on the tier. I know one was Cataglione, who was Jeff's cellmate for a while. Now the question: who's
dead? Who died? He got moved the day before that this happened, and he apparently got released in the November out of jail completely in 2019, and he had a heart attack. Inverted commas. He had a heart attack and died I think he was in his 30s. Yeah, of course he had a heart attack. We all know that they have darts and stuff and ways of injecting things into these people that can make them look like a heart attack. There's no way of tracing it. We all know this shit.
The question becomes, who was on the tier that night? When were they put there? And when were they transferred out? Because I was told that after the death, a number of prisoners were transferred off of that tier to other places. So if
Let me ask you,
somebody
Mark
plans
Epstein. Let me ask you: do you believe? Obviously, Jeffrey, your brother, had relationships, friendships with many of the most rich, famous, powerful people in the world. Do you believe that, you know, if let's take this theory to a conclusion here, do you think that one of those people who may have had a vested interest in shutting him up and not talking about what he knew about them potentially may have played a part in his death?
Yes, that's what I think happened. And then you have to question, out of the rich and powerful people he knew, who would have the ability to pull something like this off? That's another question. Who would have the ability to plan somebody?
My opinion, and it may or may not be an unpopular one, is the Clintons. I think these are so dodgy. I really want to, if I get time. I'm not going to be able to break down the entire testimony because it's just so much of it. But it's available now. The testimony is available now. The Hillary and the Bill. So just quickly, I just want to show you this. All right, I'm just trying to grab this up now, just to give you a brief idea. I'm just going to pause that for one moment. I hope you're all okay. Please hit the like if you enjoy the content. If you don't, that's okay. I won't cry. So old Hillary, yes, Hillary and Willery. I've just, oh my God, I just made that up. Willery, William and Hillary. Right, okay, so just quickly, right, ignore that for a sec. That's separate. Okay, I have actually found the 10 hours of footage from the day before this happened, including the night before as well. And do you know what the irony is? You know that little orange blob going up the stairs that we watched the other night, right? That orange blob, that 1 minute, was left out of the original release, and Pam Bondi said it didn't exist. She said that it didn't exist, and it was normal to lose a minute every night because of I can't speak. The tapes change over. That minute has come back, so that was a lie. Another lie. Hello, Pizza Demon. Blimey, is that you? It's been a while. How you doing, my friend? He says, hello. Right, and give you a wrench, bud. Regulars get wrenches if you come back. Have you seen the link I sent you about Tony? No, I haven't. If not, oh, yes, okay. Oh, is this about the cottaging? I've got that paperwork. I've got Tony Blair's cottaging paperwork from many years ago, if that's where I think it is. Okay, guys, I just want to show you this, okay? So just because it's easier to just briefly just show you this now, okay? So the camera footage that we've seen of them going up the stairs, yeah, the stairs are over here. So the camera seen the blob going up the stairs, okay? Now, out of that block, that was the special block for people on suicide watch. Though he'd been taken off it, he was still in a high-risk block. He was the first cell on the right, okay? First cell on the right. Now, whoever went up them stairs couldn't have got back down the stairs because it's the end of the building. So whoever that orange blob was never came back. Did they jump out of a window? There's bound to be little secret doors. I don't know. So the camera footage that we've seen is taken from, I think it's over here, actually, my mistake. It's over here because it's showing you the front here where the guards go. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that just for context. It's a special housing unit, common area, to the stairs leading up to Epstein's cell. Oh, so yeah, you come through there. Yeah, and then you go up the stairs. Okay. So once you go up, there's no way down. Nobody came back down them stairs. Okay. No one came back down. I just wanted to show you guys that because there's so much discrepancies. And when I'm showing you stuff, it's hard to explain it. It's much easier to actually show you. Oh, Miranda. I'll have a look after dark. I've not been on Facebook yet today. I'll have a look. Is it the Miranda one? Right, let's continue.
In there, if that's the way it was done, who would have the ability to have the Justice Department come up with this, pardon the language, this bullshit report? In the Justice Department report, it just says that it was declared dead by the pathologist, but that's not true. It was declared undetermined by the pathologist that did the actual report, and then for some reason,
you've claimed. You've claimed, Mark Epstein, that your brother had information on Donald Trump and Bill Clinton that was so incendiary that the 2016 election would have been cancelled if that information had come out.
No,
what was that information?
Wait, Pierce, that's incorrect. What Jeffrey told me during the 2016 election, we were just discussing the election, just two brothers talking about current things. What he said was that if he said what he knew about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. So he was talking about Donald Trump and he was talking about Hillary. Like Bill wasn't running at that point in time. And Jeffrey used to sometimes tell me things about people he was with, whatever. I never heard Jeffrey say anything bad about Bill Clinton. Jeffrey always liked Bill Clinton.
So he's really pushing the Trump bad guy narrative as well, which is, the other thing is, right, with all of this, is it a case of he is alive? Okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate and being completely open. Is it he's alive and he's got his brother doing all of these interviews saying he wasn't killed to totally distract from the fact that he's not even dead? Is it like a double psyop? Because Mark says repeatedly, I can confirm he's dead. Now, the interview we watched last night, he actually jokes, doesn't he, at the beginning, saying, it was him, like, it was him, he's dead, he's gone. So for those of you that don't believe that he's dead, for those of you that believe he's alive, how do you feel about Mark Epstein? Because he's the one who identified the body. Without him, they wouldn't be able to confirm he's even dead. So if you don't believe he's dead, do you believe this guy who says he's dead? Which then it takes this guy's testimony out the window. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you don't believe he's dead, then you're calling him a liar. And if that's the case, is he alive and his brother's covering for him? And he wants us to argue over if he's murdered or suicided, when actually the guy's alive and we're all being big distracted. There's that.
He's my Bill Clinton. So I don't think that, again, he didn't say he had information on Bill Clinton. He mentioned the candidates. So I want to keep the record straight. I like to keep facts out there, not speculation.
What information do you think he had on Donald Trump, for example, that could have disqualified him from that election?
I don't know any specific information, but I've also heard Jeffrey say that he stopped hanging out with Donald Trump when he realized Trump was a crook. That's on tape. I heard a videotape interview with Jeff, and he said that he stopped hanging out with Donald Trump when he realized Trump.
He's heard an interview tape. So he said that he hasn't spoken to him for years other than brother stuff. And now he's saying here that he heard a videotape where Epstein says he doesn't hang around with Trump anymore because he's a crook. Where is it then? Let's see this videotape. Now, since here, they've all been released. All the files are out now. Well, not all of them, but a lot more of them than there were here. Interesting.
He's a crook.
Do you believe that there are? Do you believe that there are these videotapes which came out in the unsealed documents yesterday? That there are videotapes which apparently were from cameras that your brother put in place, recording famous people from Prince Andrew to Bill Clinton to Richard Branson and others having sex on tape. Do you believe that?
I've heard those stories, and it's sort of like, doesn't matter if I believe it or not. I don't know. So again, I shy away from speculating on things I have no facts on. Okay, I was told by somebody who supposedly knew that there were not cameras in the New York house. You know, I know there were cameras that were on the entryways and for security. I was told there was no cameras inside, but again, I don't know if that's how reliable that. I thought it was reliable, you know, and I don't have any reason to doubt it. But again, I don't want to speculate. So I have no knowledge of any tapes or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Mark Epstein, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm joined now by Gloria Allred, who represents over 20 of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Gloria, what did you make of that conversation?
Right, so he's gone. Does he come back? Hang on. Let's have a quick listen to this now.
With Mark Epstein.
Right.
Well, I like the fact that he was fact-based. I do think there is quite a bit of
Sorry, I've just dropped my laptop.
rumor, conspiracy theory, filling the vacuum of, you know, the facts that didn't come out as soon as they might have. So I still think that there are a lot of questions about whether it was a suicide, whether it was a homicide, whether it was some kind of natural death. I don't know. I know there have been, you know, a report, I believe, by the, you know, many investigations, which decided or concluded that it was a suicide. But I think there's still an open question. I remember seeing Jeffrey Epstein the last time he appeared in court in New York. And I know that many of the victims that I represented, 20 that I represent, many of those 20 were hoping and expecting that there would be other hearings, you know, in the prosecution that was taking place of him. And they were so thrilled that finally there might be some justice in the case, in the criminal justice.
He was bumped off. Right, I'm just going to move this forward
system,
a little
of
bit.
course, his to adult women as well. And then there.
And I hereby waive any right of privacy because
Alan Dershowitz. Right, this guy, I want to go back and see what he had to say. This was his lawyer. This guy is deep, deep, deep in it. Isaac Cappy warned about Dershowitz a lot. Yeah, Epstein's lawyer, he was on GB News not long ago defending Jeffrey Epstein, saying he got called a pedo, and he went, no, he's not a pedo, he's just a sex offender. Trying to play down the pedo thing. I don't think so. Anyway, let's have a listen. I haven't heard this yet, guys. Let's have a listen.
Welcome back to Uncensored from Los Angeles. Let's get more now on the bombshell court documents about pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's powerful friends. Joining me now is his former lawyer and the author Alan Dershowitz, the investigative journalist Vicky Ward, and Fox News host Tommy Lahren. Well, welcome to all of you. Alan Dershowitz, let me start with you. You've obviously, your name has appeared in these unsealed documents in various places. What should we read into these documents? There's so much claim, counterclaim, denial, suspicious silence in some cases. What should the public make of it?
well, first, I want every document to come out, every single one. I want every videotape to be revealed. I hope there are videotapes of every single sexual encounter that anybody ever had in any property of Jeffrey Epstein, and I hereby waive any right of privacy because I know I did nothing wrong. I had sex with one woman from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein till the day he died, my wife. And these tapes have revealed exculpatory material. Sharon Churchill.
I had sex with one woman. Woman doesn't mean you didn't have sex with a man or a child. This guy is really creepy. He really is. I think that's it for the Mark stuff. I just wanted to see. Okay, right, so that's it for that one. Okay, there's other ones. There's one more I want to show you, and let me just grab it up now. There's one more I want to show you. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I want to show you how angry this guy gets. Just trying to remember this lady's name. Do you know that, I tell you what as well, which is another interesting thing, Candice Owen as well, she covered not long ago, about a year ago, she covered Harvey Weinstein. Now, I think she's gone a little bit bonkers personally. She believes that Harvey Weinstein's innocent and he's become a patsy. Now, I remember when all this came out, this Me Too stuff, and I actually said this at the time. He probably was a disgusting perv, but it's nothing compared to what they're doing with kids. And this was before Epstein was arrested and all this stuff, right? And I think he took a lot of flack for them. Now, he's actually quite concerned that he's going to get Epsteined in jail. I would be as well. Anyway, so this lady interviewed Mark Epstein 10 days ago, right? So not long after that other one we watched. I just wanted to show you how he gets quite annoyed again. He gets quite annoyed. Now listen to this. Listen to this. This is her description. She's put 25th of Feb. I interviewed Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein. He agreed to appear on the show with one condition. We would focus exclusively on the circumstances surrounding his brother's death. Given the situation, it was a choice between accepting that limitation or not having the conversation at all. We decided the discussion was worth having. During the interview, Mark stated clearly that he believes his brother was murdered and claims that the full truth will come out in time. If you want it more dramatic, more neutral, or more investigative in tone, say the word and I'll adjust it. Well, how can you say the word and I'll adjust it when the interview's already happened? I thought that was a bit weird. Now, this lady's got less subscribers than me on this channel, and she's got him on. I wonder how we get him on. Anyway, I can't remember if it's the beginning or halfway in. I'm going to find the bit where he gets quite annoyed.
Interesting show today. Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, was my guest. But before I start this show, you have to know something. Mark agreed to come to the show only on single condition, and that condition was that I stick around only one topic, and that was his brother's death. He said if I asked any other questions around financial deals or his work, his personal life, he would leave the show. I think we still did really well talking about other things other than his death, but I wanted you to know that it's not that I didn't try, it's that it was this or nothing, and I thought this was better than nothing. So here we go. Mark, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time, and we talked behind the camera before, and you told me that you're still investigating your brother's death. You do not agree that it was a suicide. So I just want to ask you, you believe that he was murdered. Do you have evidence, any evidence supports that belief? Or
Yes, we do, more so than ever before. First
amazing.
of all,
Walk me through it, please.
Okay, we had, first of all, when he first died, we had the two pathologists that did the autopsy that were there. You know, they came out saying that his death looked more like a homicide than a suicide. And you don't see that anywhere in the reports. But then on the death certificate that we got that day to claim the body, the cause of death said...
We'll be experts on this now, I'm telling you. Now, I'm not going to listen to the whole thing because we already listened to the others. Sorry. So I just want to find the bit where he gets angry. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to play the whole... he's going to say a lot of the same stuff. We're not going to listen to it all. Just let me just try and find the bit where he gets angry.
Trying to say a guard carrying sheets. I mean, with that statement, it leads you to believe that he could see the door to the tier that nobody went in or out of.
Okay, let's listen back to that bit there.
The Attorney General at the time came out and made a ridiculous statement. He said that he saw the videotape and he saw that nobody went in or out of the tier.
Yeah.
And that convinced him it was a suicide. When I heard that, I knew this was a cover-up because, number one, I thought, why is the Attorney General personally watching the videotape? That didn't make sense. And also, he completely ignored the fact that
there were 12 other prisoners on the tier. If somebody wanted to harm somebody on the tier, they wouldn't have to go and come from the tier. Also, when Bill Barr made that statement, it leads you to believe that he could see the door to the tier. That no conclusion
I'm just trying to
is
find the
based
bit
on
where he gets
bullshit.
mad.
See the body. She calls it a suicide. And
So
it wasn't a suicide.
there are rumors that say that the reason for all this secrecy is because Jeffrey's alive. Now, I asked.
Yeah, I know. Stop right there. Stop right there. I
Oh.
identified his body.
See, now, my theory earlier, he gets really mad. Is it because he is alive, like I said before, and his narrative has to be he didn't kill himself, because then people are arguing, did you kill himself? Did you not kill himself? Not, he could be alive. Now, let's just watch his reaction again here.
We know, anyone who looks at the information knows Jeffrey was killed. And
So
it wasn't a suicide.
there are rumors that say that the reason for all this secrecy is because Jeffrey's alive. Now, I asked.
Yeah, I know. Stop right there. Stop right there. I identified his body. I won't
That
address
was
these
my
questions
question. Mhm.
because I hear these all the time, and I'm not going to waste another breath denying that anymore. He's dead.
Okay.
Next question.
So, okay, so you actually were there and identified the body, because that's the misconception. Some people say he was never allowed to even see the body. And I put it out there already that you were allowed to see the body, and you did
Not
identify your brother.
only was I allowed to see the body, I had to see the body. I'm the only next
Right.
of kin.
Hi,
I had
Lisa.
to identify the body.
Okay. So I have a question about the importance of why would someone kill Jeffrey but allow Ghislaine Maxwell to sit in prison unharmed with the
Yeah.
same information that, if not more,
Question.
I'm assuming that your brother had. Have you ever thought about that?
No, I think number one, if something were to happen to Glenn, then it would really be obvious that that something's going on other than they're trying to push the suicide theory. I mean, if all of a sudden Glenn's found, gone from a supposed suicide, I mean, no one's really going to buy that. People are not buying the Jeffrey suicide story anymore. So
No, I agree with you. I think he was killed. I absolutely agree with you there. The only issue I have is why allow Ghislaine to leave and kill Jeffrey? So
okay, well,
do you think-
supposedly Jeffrey was talking to the prosecutors in late July about naming names, about making a deal.
Oh,
So I think that's why.
now he's not said that before. So, because if you notice, she's going off script. She's asking him questions that he's not expecting. And he's dropping things in. Now, he didn't say that on any of the others. He was apparently talking in the July of making a deal. He was arrested, I think it was the 8th of July. I can't remember. It was the beginning of July, he was arrested. And he was bumped off on the 10th of August 2019.
Probably Ghislaine did it because look, obviously Ghislaine hasn't said anything in the testimonies that she's given so far. She didn't give anything damning, and she gave what I consider to be a bullshit exoneration. To make a deal to get better accommodations.
What do you refer to when you say bullshit exoneration?
Well, when I heard her testimony and they questioned her about different people, different names that came up, and she would say, no, she never saw anything. Did they see Mr. X do anything? No. Did they see Mr. Y do anything? And then they asked her about Trump, and she went on a length, exonerating Trump, where with everybody else it was just a no, I didn't see anything. And I thought that was kind of odd how she went at length to try to clear Trump's name. And we know Trump's in the files, a lot of the files have been scrubbed of his name. There was just a thing today, I forgot the number, it was like 50 some odd, 53 pages.
Yeah, so he's basically saying that Ghislaine, because Ghislaine has been coming out and saying that Trump was not involved, but so did Virginia Giuffre or Virginia Roberts. She came out and said that as well, and she still ended up dead. We know that Virginia Giuffre did not bump herself off.
He's in a lot of files. Yeah, I went through the files. I'm still going through it. I've covered a lot of it. But with Trump, there's some weird stuff about him in the files that doesn't add up for me. Most of the allegation starts after he becomes the president, which is weird. You know, the timing, you gotta ask, like, why is that when everyone else is implicated way before and after? So I have my own beliefs about Trump. And of course, another part of it is that she's sitting in prison and Trump is the president of the United States right now who can do something about her condition. So that's probably why she's trying to be super, subtle.
That could be, but so this is not what I'm here to talk about.
Yeah.
About
No,
the
I
files.
mean,
I'm not interested.
She's going off. She is going off record, and he's getting annoyed. Now, this is why I wanted to show this. I thought this was interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna be doing lots more on this. Okay, next week. So I'm supposed to be going out tomorrow afternoon, evening. 50-50 on whether I'm going yet because Gizmo's not well and he needs his mummy. So if I don't go out tomorrow night, I will do some more on this because this is just the tip of the tiny tip of the iceberg, the stuff that I want to bring you. You may or may not know. And if you do know it, then it's just a refresher. If you don't know it, then we're all learning. We're all learning together. I'm learning still every day. Nobody knows everything. We're always learning. And I think that we can go further down these rabbit holes together. If you guys are up for that, that is.
They were co-conspirators, as I understand, unless you have a different information. So then Jeffrey dies and Ghislaine leaves. It's really weird, right? Why not in the first place?
Well, I don't speculate on things. I only stick to facts. I don't know the timing of when Jeffrey and Ghislaine sort of parted ways, in a sense. So I can't comment on that because I don't have the facts.
Got it. So many people say that you didn't really know your brother that well and everything you say should not be taken seriously. I'm just telling you what people say so you can counter that and give us like.
Well, I knew Jeffrey. Look, it's known. I didn't see Jeffrey for 7 years, but we were always in communication with emails and phone calls. As a matter of fact, the night before he got arrested, he called me from Paris. Just a normal, what's new, brother to brother call. And the next day he came home and got arrested. So I didn't know what he was doing day to day, but we were always in touch. Yeah.
Good to know. I mean, obviously you see Jeffrey way differently than, the rest of the world does. So he was your brother first and, foremost before he was anything else. To you personally, what kind of character Jeffrey had? Like,
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm only here to speak because no matter what I found, unfortunately, no matter.
See, this is why I wanted to show this one. He's getting really annoyed, isn't he?
What I say gets misconstrued to fit somebody's agenda. So I have stopped answering questions other than anything against Jeffrey's death. It's the only thing I will address.
Absolutely understandable. I'm trying to figure out why was he the only victim of this entire web? I mean, who else died? Who else is going to prison? That's what I'm trying to
tell you somebody else who died, and I'll be revealing more on the next one. Yeah, I will be doing it. Sorry I didn't get to do it because there was a lot going on, but I will be doing it. But also, there's more. Well, it might be nothing burger to you, Unity Calling, but it's not to us. And it's not to other people. So it's still very interesting to listen to.
Didn't that guy, Jean-Luc Brunel, also die in prison? Didn't he also supposedly commit suicide in prison?
That's what we're going to be doing next time, folks. Epstein wasn't the only one who was supposedly hung in prison.
Yeah, supposedly.
I never met him, so I don't know him. So I don't know what he was doing. But there's another person who's dead in this episode.
Yes, so that's why I wanted to understand what kind of character he really was versus what people say he was. And the only person that can closely describe his family situation and what kind of guy he was is you. And that's why I'm asking. I have zero agenda here.
I understand why you're asking, and these questions I do not answer.
Is that a reason exactly why, or you're just afraid?
Well,
that-
because that's my family, and that's to me that's personal, and it's an invasion of my privacy. So
Huh?
that's why.
Evasion of his privacy. He really does not want to be questioned, does he? He is working off a script. Who's giving him this script? I'm more and more thinking that maybe he's alive and that he's doing the distraction for Epstein. She's asking some really good questions. I think she used to work with Tucker Carlson, if I remember rightly.
I don't talk about that, but I'm only concerned that my brother was killed, and we have, like I said, when this report comes out, you'll understand why we know it was not suicide.
So you're basing a lot of hope on this report. If it comes out,
I'm not saying it's not hope. I've already know the results of it, but I won't speak prematurely. It's being peer reviewed, and when it's done and finished, it will be released, and then you'll know that it's accurate because it's being peer reviewed.
okay,
Like any other scientific paper, it's being peer reviewed properly.
okay.
Well,
I
if you
understand that.
listen to the start of the Piers Morgan one, just from a couple of years ago, he says that he first found out that his brother had been naughty in 2006. Now, let's not forget that Epstein was convicted in 2008 of being sexual with a young girl. I think she was 13. He should have served 15 years. He served 13 months. He did a sweetheart deal and got off and was allowed to continue to go on and do what he was doing. Now, it's come out today that he was investigated in 2004. Years before his conviction. And again, the FBI did nothing. They allowed it to go through. He was messing with young girls where he used to work. I haven't even got onto the eugenics part of this yet. I haven't even got onto the cloning part because people are just discovering this. We knew this years ago. He was involved in eugenics. He was involved in human cloning. This isn't a conspiracy. Whether it's in the files or not, which it probably is, I haven't even got to that part with the files yet. We knew this years ago. I've always said that Stephen Hawking was some sort of thing that they've grown. It was. I've always said that Stephen Hawking was the first one that they did, and it went wrong. And he's all over these files, by the way, all over them. We'll be seeing more of that in a video, and there'll also be more live streams as well.
All right. So then, since you don't want to speak about anything else, I mean, the murder details are out pretty much for everyone to see, and they know this information. They possess this information. So how about I'll ask you questions and you can answer yes or no to it without talking about anything.
We could try. We could try that. Go
Let's
ahead.
try that. So do you think your
He's a
brother was a
weirdo.
sexual predator?
I don't know. I wasn't around, so I can't say either way.
I don't know, but he knows he was convicted in 2008. We already know this. It's public knowledge. And he already knows that he told him in 2006. So he's lying again.
Okay. Do you think your brother was any kind of intelligence agent?
I have no idea. He never mentioned that to me.
Okay. Do you think your brother was a financial shark, meaning he was in finances to either stabilize, destabilize, or monopolize world's finances?
I have no knowledge of that. I just know Jeffrey was in finance to make money.
Right, I think the first one is lying. The second one, I don't think he knows of his Mossad. And the third one is lying.
Okay, for himself?
Yes.
Did your brother represent the Rothschilds as he said he was representing the Rothschild family?
I have no idea.
Okay. Was he married?
Never.
Does he have any kids?
No.
Okay. So,
I know there's somebody out there claiming to be his niece. If he had a niece,
Yes.
that would make her my daughter. Okay. That woman is not my daughter.
Okay, so that claim is absolutely wrong. Good to know.
Right.
Has your brother ever told you anything about, his work with any intelligence agency out there? Maybe you didn't know that he was working for anybody. Of course, like that's given. But has he ever mentioned any intelligence like CIA, Mossad, anybody? ever?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
He didn't tell me what he was doing. We just spoke. He would tell me funny stories. I would keep him abreast of family stuff. Just normal brother stuff. I didn't know what he was doing.
Got it. Did you guys grow? I don't even know this. Did you grew up together at all, or did you have like some kind of family dynamics where you were?
No. It was. I mean, I don't really want to get into it, but it was a nuclear family. We grew up together. Yes.
Okay, so that's understandable. And Mark, can you tell me something that people have gotten super wrong about you and your family out there, that it kind of hurts you that people say?
No, because this is not about me. So I don't care what they say about me. Okay? It's not about me. It's about my brother being killed in a federal prison. That's all I'm interested in.
I'm going to ask you a very tough question. You choose to avoid it if you want to. Some people say that he deserved what he got. What do you have to say to that?
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Okay. Sorry. I mean, there's a ton of things that I want to talk to you about. Unfortunately, I'm going to honor your request not to do so. So, is there anything that you want my audience to know about your brother before we say goodbye?
Well, just that he did not commit suicide.
He was murdered.
He was murdered in jail. Yeah.
Who do you think killed him? Because that's important, right? Okay.
Well, look at it this way. I'm going to put the question back to you. You have the then Attorney General obviously lying about this. Also, Bill Barr, when he was in congressional testimony, he was asked about Dr. Boden's opinion, that this looked more like a homicide. And Bill Barr said under oath, he said Boden came after the fact. That's a lie. Boden didn't come after the fact. Boden was there for the entire autopsy and determined by his professional opinion that this was a homicide. It was Dr. Barbara Sampson, the chief medical examiner.
He's fine when he goes back on his script, isn't he? I'm just looking into this niece. Interesting. I see what you're saying. This is all a big smokescreen diversion since he was cremated. Was he cremated, though? Is that what he was? I just think, hello, Lynn, darling. I think it's weird that he will not go off script, will he? He really won't. And is it a case of he is alive and we're all arguing over whether he killed himself or not? And no one's asking the other question. Is he alive? I've just been looking at the niece. It's interesting that as well. Apparently she went on a Sean Atwood podcast. I'm not showing that. You guys know how I feel about him. Yeah, I'm just doing a bit of research now. I'm just leave this playing while I'm having a quick look into the niece. I like her questioning, though. I like hearing him under pressure.
She came after the fact with her opinion based on nothing, that it was suicide. There's a lot of things that Barr has said. And then you get Kash Patel recently under congressional testimony, was asked about the death. And he said, and I actually laughed when he said, well, it was suicide when you see one. Okay. Right. And I thought, what a jackass this guy is. Number one, how many suicides has he seen that makes him an expert? I mean, he's not a forensic pathologist, right? He's not a doctor. He never saw Jeffrey's body. He didn't see the crime scene. So what is he basing his opinion on? So now you get the former attorney general, who's obviously full of shit about this, and you got Kash Patel making this ridiculous statement. So you get the former attorney general and the current head of the FBI, part of this cover-up. So then the question has to become, if you were doing a real investigation, the question would become, who are they covering up for? I don't think Bill Barr killed my brother. I don't think Kash Patel killed my brother. So it's, who are they covering up for? And then you put a list of people together. There's a big list, supposedly, of people that might want to see Jeffrey dead for what he knew. Okay. And then you have to filter that list by who would have the ability to orchestrate this murder in prison and have the DOJ cover it up.
Who's your top picks in top three?
Well, I'm going to ask you, who out of the list and the parameters we set, who would you say might be on that small list?
I believe that CIA and Mossad both have to do something with it, because Israel was implicated in all over your brother's files. And if anyone wants, Jeffrey to shut up, it's probably them and the CIA. So yes, the executive branch is probably, our executive branch is probably very much implicated in this too.
Okay, so that's That's a good opinion.
Yeah. So, quick question before you leave. This woman has been all over everything, like whether it was Jeffrey's passing or his legacy or whatever. I'm talking about Shuliak, which is a possible girlfriend of Jeffrey's.
Oh, Corinne, yeah.
Corinne, yeah. So I'm sure that you probably don't even know her, as I understand, right?
No, I do know her.
Is she like mentally unstable, or what's going
Who's
on
this?
with
Sorry, I
her?
need to go back a sec. 'Cause I was reading that. Who's this? This is apparently Epstein's girlfriend. I'm just going back slightly. I want to re-listen to this. There's so much more in this than wasn't in the other one.
And if anyone wants, Jeffrey to shut up, it's probably them and the CIA. So yes, the executive branch is probably, our executive branch is probably very much implicated in this too.
Okay, so that's a good opinion.
Yeah. So, quick question before you leave. This woman has been all over everything, like whether it was Jeffrey's passing or his legacy or whatever. I'm talking about Shuliak, which is a possible girlfriend of Jeffrey's.
Oh, Corinne, yeah.
Corinne, yeah. So I'm sure that you probably don't even know her, as I understand, right?
No, I do know her.
Is she like mentally unstable, or what's going on with her?
No, she's perfectly normal as far as I know.
And was your brother?
She's just being bashed unfairly. It's just people are trying to bash everything. People are bashing me left and right with all kinds of misinformation. I ignore it because you can't go around trying to dispute or deny all these nonsense allegations because you'll have no life. So,
well, I've got to agree with him there. If you go around defending yourself against nonsense allegations, you will have no life. I've got to agree with him there. That's why I don't bother arguing on people now when they accuse me of all these stupid things. Like, they've got nothing better to do. Keeps them off the streets, let them carry on.
same thing for her and other people that
I don't know who she is.
Anyone some way included. There's just people out there trying to
for sure.
cause trouble.
But unlike her, though, you didn't come out and started this weird stuff on X, right? You probably saw it.
She didn't start that. Those are not her accounts.
But it was verified account. No?
She didn't do that. She doesn't go on social media.
Whoever this woman is, who was apparently the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, he knows her and he doesn't sound very happy that she's bashing her. Interesting. Did anyone catch her name? He's saying that the account that's going around saying all this stuff isn't really her. Interesting.
Social media, she's keeping a very low profile, understandably. No, she's not doing anything public. So anything you see like that,
reach out to you for help, for guidance, for anything, or she's like doing her own thing just by herself.
No, she didn't reach out.
He does, doesn't he?
No.
Okay.
Lovely jubbly, and he gets very defensive of this girl, which is more and more making me think that Epstein is alive, is with this girl, and he knows both of them.
But she did get a lot of, inheritance from Jeffrey, so she.
You know why I reckon he won't go on camera? He refuses to go on camera. I think it's because if you're on camera, you can have more lie detector stuff done to you. If it's on the phone, it's going to be a lot harder to do like get these body language experts to see whether he's lying or not. I think that's why he's not going on camera.
He must have meant.
Well, from what I understand, nobody's gotten anything yet. Also, you have to understand on that topic, okay, when Jeffrey put his will together and the trust, his estate was valued at over $500 million. Okay?
Correct.
That's not there anymore. Okay, so whenever all the lawsuits get settled and the executives can distribute the money according to Jeffrey's wishes, everybody's going to get a fraction of what it said in the will.
Where is it then?
I think there's about 25% left from what he started with because they paid out a lot of money in taxes and to the women involved in the lawsuits. And then and some money came in because of investments that he had made that paid off. So there's maybe 25% less. So everyone, if that's the case, I believe they will split up the money proportionally. So if there's 25% left, everybody will get 25% of what they were originally supposed to get.
That's right.
I believe that's how that's properly done.
So
Ah.
do you believe that you can ever get some clarity on your brother's death? I mean, even if we get close and even if they are forced to say that he was killed, my guess is no one is going to prison.
Well, maybe not. But the thing is, look, if we get to that point, that'll be like happiness when the report comes out and people finally understand. You know, because up till now, if you want to believe that he committed suicide, you could look at all the information, everything we have, and say, yes, but he committed suicide. You know, like the minor things, like what the guards didn't do the rounds. Yes, but he committed suicide. You know, the fire alarm system in the prison was shut off that day. People don't know that. That controls motion sensors in some doors. Yes, but he committed suicide. Okay? But once the suicide gets knocked off the table, because there's only three ways to die, whether you're in prison or not. One is commit suicide. Two is natural causes. And three is an unnatural death, either a murder or an accident. Okay. So if you want to believe Jeffrey committed suicide and everything else is just noise, you can believe that. We know he didn't die of natural causes, and we know he wasn't hit by a bus, right? So that leaves murder or suicide. Now, once the suicide gets knocked off the table, when this information comes out and people understand that he didn't commit suicide, that only leaves murder. Then everybody should be demanding that they do a true murder investigation. They should put a panel together, separate from the FBI, because we can't trust them because of Kash Patel, and with subpoena power to get answers. There's a lot of missing information. I'll give you an example. We know that the two guards got in trouble for not doing their rounds that night, right? And they were let off, so they didn't really face any big penalties. Now, Michael Thomas, he came on shift in the middle of the night, right? This is facts. We know this. Tova Noel was there. Now, there's never, ever just one guard there. So before Michael Thomas came on, there had to be another guard there. We know his name. Now, he had to be part of the cover-up because he didn't do the rounds either. And he didn't fill out the reports, the timesheets either. Why wasn't he initially indicted? Why don't we know? Why isn't his name public? Who is he? What was his role in this? So there's a lot of these unanswered questions, like these mysteries. If Tova Noel and Michael Thomas got in trouble for not filling the paperwork out, not doing the rounds, that other guard, at least one other, should have gotten in trouble too. Why didn't they? So, there's a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's just almost endless.
Yeah.
We have records that the FBI in the prison, they swapped out hard drives from the video system. They were told that if they swapped out the hard drives when they were doing it, they were going to lose information, lose the footage. They did it anyhow. So the FBI lost the footage, the video footage.
Right. Okay. So this girl, this Karina Shuliak, was a Belarusian dentist. So she's the only beneficiary in his will, apparently. Interesting.
By swapping out the hard.
And he seems to be very keen on her. I'm wondering whether if you kill yourself and the insurance won't pay out, but if you're bumped off, you get insurance. Is he with her and they're pushing this because they want to get the insurance money?
Drives before they were properly saved. There's just so much of this that it's astounding.
Do you believe Kash Patel knows the truth? He got in later, remember? So do you think that he was given everything that he was supposed to be given, or do you think something was hidden from him too?
Well, I don't know. I believe he knows that it wasn't a suicide. I believe he knows that. I don't know how much more he knows.
That's right.
I couldn't believe he said that. It's suicide when you see. I actually laughed out loud when that jackass made that comment.
Wow. Yeah. No, I was very disappointed. I think everyone was. So do you believe that Ghislaine Maxwell will leave until she's old and die in prison, or maybe see freedom one day? Or do you think that she's going to get suicided as well?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what to say about that.
Okay. So, and lastly, what would you leave my audience with?
Yeah, I want to have what they call a full murder-capable investigation. Like I said, once the suicide gets knocked off the table by the evidence they have that he didn't commit suicide, that only leaves murder. They should investigate this as a murder. Who killed him? and who had it done.
Right.
Because it's sort of like, I believe it's like a mob hit. He was killed, but on somebody's orders.
You know, I went through thousands of emails and I saw Ghislaine's brother heavily advocating for Ghislaine, trying to protect her, trying to get her out. Did anyone call you when Jeffrey was arrested?
Well, his attorneys called me when the Jeffrey.
What did they want?
Well, number one, they wanted to tell me he was arrested. Okay, and then they asked if I would participate in his bail. So I said sure. I said put up my house in Florida. So obviously he didn't get bail. But then a couple of weeks later, so they called me back, and they were going to appeal the bail decision. They were trying to get bail again, and they asked me if I would not only put up the house, but would I guarantee Jeffrey's entire bail? In essence, doubling it. Now, here's an important thing your audience should know. They were going to appeal the bail decision with Jeffrey's assets and me doubling it, and he had another friend putting up assets. I don't know how much. It would have been the highest bail in U.S. history by far.
Wow.
Okay, and normally when you go to appeal a bail, you get a hearing in a week or two. I mean, P. Diddy has tried to get bail a couple of times or something, so you get a hearing. So he had a hearing coming up. They didn't have a date yet, but they were going to appeal. Now, why would he kill himself before that hearing?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
If he got bail, I mean, I Googled it at the time. The highest bail ever in 2019 was $100 million. Okay. With Jeffrey's bail and me doubling it and his friend's assets, it would have been over $150 million. It would have been the highest bail ever by far. And if he got bail, he'd be living in his house in the city. He'd have an ankle monitor on. There'd be armed guards to make sure he didn't go anywhere. There'd be cameras outside of his house all over, and I could see if they had the hearing and bail was denied again, and he didn't want to spend a year in jail there, awaiting trial. I can see, okay, take yourself out if that's what you want to do. Understand, it's another thing, stick a pin in that. When I first heard Jeffrey was dead from an apparent suicide, I had no reason to doubt it. I fully believed it. I figured, he didn't want to be in jail. I wasn't sure of the timing with the bail situation because I wasn't, paying attention on a day-to-day basis. And so I assumed it was true. And I just, he decided to take himself out. And he didn't have any children to worry about. He was single. Our parents were gone. He didn't have to worry about me. So I just assumed, he took himself out. And then we did the autopsy the next day. And I was fully expecting the pathologist to come out of the autopsy and saying, unfortunately, your brother committed suicide. And I would have, mourned my brother's loss. And then.
Yeah, so he never denied the suicide straight away. It was because of all the reports and all the weird skullduggery or shitduggery, as I call it, that went on after, that we found out after.
He's gone on with my life. But they came out and both pathologists said it looks too much like a homicide as opposed to a suicide. And then it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And that's when things changed. Right. So I don't want people to think that, I just don't want to believe my brother committed suicide, because I fully believed it. I didn't. There was no reason for me to doubt it until the autopsy was done.
Mark, when you saw your brother's body, did you see anything weird? I know you're not, forensic pathologist or anything, but did something catch your eye that was like not okay?
No, first of all, he had no tattoos. Let me be clear about that.
Okay.
And every other body part was normal.
Okay. Interesting. Well, definitely very, very interesting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
That was I think that was a really good one. Well done to Elizabeth Lane for asking all of the right questions. Right, we're going to go. We're going to continue this next week. I've got some videos to put together. I've still got to edit my Steve release video, who's one of the hogs. We've seen Derek. We're going to watch Steve. We've currently got a poorly trio in hospital. We've got Alan, Julie and Barry, who are all getting treatment. This is for the Penny Bunnies Pets, Penny's Bunnies Wildlife and Pets. I've changed the channel name just for a change, because I'm doing more and more wildlife now. So there you go. So I've got lots of editing to do and lots of content to work on. So I'm going to work on a quick video now for this channel. really creepy stuff coming out. If you guys want me to continue down this rabbit hole next week, I'll put a lot of energy into it. There's so much weird stuff. I think we'll just start going down the files rabbit hole now, guys, if you want. If that's what you want. Pisses me off that the brother thinks that suicide mode investigations is uppermost here. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But he doesn't want you to talk about, I suppose I'm trying to look at it from his point of view. If he didn't know what was going on, he still wants to know who killed his brother. If he didn't know what was going on, his brother's dead. He's still going to want to know who killed his brother, but is his brother alive? Oh, sorry. Not slept at all last night. Horrendous night's sleep, but there you go. Thank you to our members. Thank you for our likers. May or may not be on tomorrow. We'll see. But I will be doing a video. I'm going to do it now quickly, actually, before I forget. There's a couple of things I want to mention. They'll just be short videos. I'll do one now, but we will be live either tomorrow or Monday. More Eggstein stuff. I'll be doing a new show on Penny for Your Thoughts as well. Maybe that'll be Monday, actually. Yeah, we'll probably catch up on the news. We'll see. We will get there. We will get it all in. But this is my current rabbit hole. And also, I'm still going to be doing my David Icke stuff. I'm still going to be reviewing more Eric Dubay stuff. So there's still lots to go on. There's so much content to do, and there's not enough hours in the day. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening if you're in the UK, or Sunday morning if you're at the other side of the world, or Saturday afternoon if you're on that side of the world. Anyway, have a good one. Take care. Good night. God bless. Bye.